Hi everyone, how are you doing? It's me, Christine again. I thought I did a video on how I've learned Japanese. Why not about how I learned Spanish? So here you go. So as you all know, or if you don't, I am my mother tongue is French. So Spanish is really close to French, but not as close as what most people think. There's a lot of similar words, that's true, but there's also a lot of words will sound the same, like yeah, sound the same but totally different in the meaning. And the grammar is kind of the same, but there's a few things pretty different as well. So even if like a French person listen to some Spanish, um, if you haven't studied it, truth is you won't understand it. That's simple. I used to listen to a lot of music when I was like younger. Um, a lot of French people do. We love Spanish. Like it sounds so sexy, and like or at least I found it so sexy, and I just love the sound of it. I've always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never understood it, and I can't pronounce it properly. Hehe. um, so yeah, so even if you can understand maybe a few words like television, yeah, even English people can understand that. You can't speak the language. So when I was in Japan, I've met um, my boyfriend from that time. We was from Argentina, so he could speak Spanish, but I was just so shy, and like we could both speak Japanese, so we spoke Japanese the whole time. So a lot of people think that's because I had this boyfriend who was speaking Spanish, but I've learned Spanish, because a lot of people think that because you have a boyfriend you can learn a language. It helps you, but the truth is no. He helped me at the end when I finally learned Spanish and I wasn't shy and anymore, and I could speak with him. So he helped me at the end to practice, but I learned on my own. So I, I, like I mentioned, I listened a lot to music, um, and I tried to read a little bit, but I wouldn't understand much. So when I moved to Argentina, I applied for a school, language school, and I started 3 days after I landed, literally. And I was in the school as a student for like 2 months and a half, 3 months, I think, 3 months. And that's literally during the first 2 months that I've learned the most. And I was living at my boyfriend's at the time, my ex-boyfriend's house, and his parents were Japanese, so they were speaking with me in Japanese. Sometimes they would speak to each other in Spanish, like they would use both, so it was really confusing, but at least I could understand the Japanese part. Yeah. Um, so I wasn't speaking Spanish at home, but I was at school most of the day, like the whole morning, and the teachers were speaking only in Spanish. Even like my first day, um, I had to do an interview and it was all in Spanish, and like I had studied a little bit, so I could say my name. I would say French. I could say I have I had learned just in case to say my age, but like I didn't know the numbers anyways. So it was all in Spanish, and like our teacher was amazing. He would sometimes use some English to explain a little bit because most people could speak English in the class, but most of it was in Spanish, and he was really trying hard to make us practice Spanish the whole time. So once again, what I did was mainly practicing my Spanish as much as possible during the class, practicing speaking, and when I would come home, I would listen to more and more Spanish music, and I started also watching TV shows. So I started with Merlin. So I don't know if anyone watches TV shows in Spanish, but it's a really good show. Merlin as Merli, sorry, Merli. I also watch a lot of TV shows about, Latinos TV shows about drug dealers and stuff like La Reina del Sur or since Paraiso, and a lot of super long TV shows like 3 seasons, and each season is like 90 episodes and stuff. So I was watching a lot of episodes, TV shows. I was listening to music. I would go to school and I would try my hardest to speak only Spanish with like the teachers and in the classroom as well, trying not to use my English as much. And my teachers was amazing. I had the same teacher for 2 months and like the same small group as well, and we did so great. And in just 2 months, I could have a small conversation. I do believe that I could have learned even faster if I had spoken with my current boyfriend and with his family in Spanish too. It would have helped me at home too. But anyways, I also did CrossFit in Spanish, and that was so funny because they were talking to me, and I was like, mm, okay. And I couldn't understand a word. They were speaking so fast. It wasn't the same as like in a classroom, and like Pablo, my teacher, was just speaking super slowly and like trying to make sure I would understand. No, they were just like running and like speaking. And I look kind of Latino, so like most people thought I was from Argentina anyways. So we would just speak and speak, and I would just wait 2 seconds, watch what they were doing, and just do what they were doing. But eventually listening to that Spanish super quick and stuff, and slowly talking with people, and like I would have to tell them I don't speak Spanish, and we're like, really, don't speak Spanish? How you do? And like I was like, I watch you guys. I don't know. And so I was slowly talking with people at CrossFit. Um, my boyfriend had he's one of his best friend in a small town outside of Buenos Aires, and sometimes we would go there for the weekend, and I became friend with them, especially with the girl, Colombian girl, amazing, she would know it, um, and she was super patient with me, and like she would make me talk, and we was talking Spanish together, and that was a very good practice for me too. We became friends pretty quickly, and that was pretty surprising. They had a small restaurant, a Japanese restaurant there. Um, I even helped them a few times, like working there, and it was funny because wasn't sure of my Spanish and stuff. But talking with both of them helped me too. I practice and like we exchanged numbers, and I was like chatting with her as well on the phone and stuff. So that's another way. I practice my Spanish a lot too, and I would go dancing too. I started dancing after maybe 2 or 3 months, and when I was finally able to make small conversation and everything, um, and I would go dancing, and then there again, people would come talk to me thinking I could speak Spanish, and I didn't really have a choice but start talking too. So I made a lot of friends dancing, like um, especially one friend from Venezuela, which ended up being very good friend. We would go drinking, wine tasting, dancing, and that helped me a lot to practice my Spanish too in different settings as well. Eventually, I became his English teacher, by the way, and it was funny. Like I would kind of teach him English officially. Like once or twice a week, but then we would go out and it would help me practice my Spanish. So it was pretty cool. I also started working for the language school after 3 months, I think, 3 months and a half, and that's when my Spanish really got like went up because I had my coworker, who was my boss, Angie, was so strict on me. She really wanted me to speak Spanish, and she was surprised by my level of Spanish because I was really shy in front of her, and I didn't really speak when I was a student. But when I started working, she could see me like speaking Spanish to the students and like to everyone, and she was like, "But you have a good Spanish." I was like, "Yeah, I'm just shy," and like we started talking every day to each other in Spanish, and I had to speak with like um, family from the homestays because we did homestays at the school. So I had to speak with them. I had to speak with the teachers in Spanish too, and some teachers would come and help me out as well. All the teachers were amazing. I had most of them as teachers for like a week or two when I started moving around, and some of them teachers like started teaching me when I started working, like things helpful like how to answer the phone and like uh, one teacher helped me a lot with that. Our tango teacher, she would recognize herself. She helped me a lot with that too. And what else? So I just like starting speaking more and more Spanish, and I started being less and less shy about it. Because to be honest, most of it was because I didn't like my accent. I sounded so French when I would speak Spanish. But then Argentinian accent is pretty interesting, so I was okay with it. And I just started talking more with people and practicing. I would make mistakes, but like most of the people I would be around with at work were teachers. So they will be just like, happy that I would speak a lot and only correcting me when they needed to, or like giving me even like more series to watch, or like I even got a book but didn't really read it yet. And anyways, I would become friends with all the teachers, and like we talk about yoga, we talk about um, things, and I will hear the teachers talking to each other as well about different things, like the situation in Argentina. We do a lot of things. When I was working, I had to be social with the people coming to the school, and like we would have to go like Mundolingo, if anyone knows that. It's a event where you actually go and you put flags of the languages you speak and the languages you want to practice. And it's just a bar, so you just go get a drink and you meet new people and you practice the languages you want to. So you could be practicing your Spanish, other people will be then practicing their English with you, like French or Japanese or whatever language you speak. And so I would go there like once a fortnight maybe, or sometimes once a week, to take the students all together, and I just go there and practice again Spanish and different languages. It was fun too, and getting just more and more social. And like I'm usually pretty introvert and pretty shy, but like by being in Argentina and going out and working with it, um, that was pretty cool. Um, and we would do other like events, like we would do tours once or twice a week, and we would go with one of the teacher who was amazing too. Um, and we would go visit different parts of the city, or like museums and stuff, and listen to the explanation in Spanish. And like we would do activities where we would have to we would have a list of questions. We would mix different group of like different levels of Spanish, and then just go and ask the locals questions about like the city or about different things. And it was pretty nice because like even for beginners we could listen to the others speaking, and like the one a bit with a better level of Spanish could ask the questions and read the questions and explain to each other. And it was a nice way to learn about the city as well. So the school is really nice, by the way. So if you ever go to Argentina or to South America and you want to stop by to learn Spanish for even a couple of weeks, a month, I would say a week is too short to learn Spanish. Definitely, you can learn a few phrases, but not much. If you stay for a month, your Spanish is gonna be better. You can make small conversations, and then you can travel all through South America. A lot of people do that, so then do it. If you want, the name of the school is EleBaires and it's in Palermo. I'll probably write it in the comments. But anyway, so that's how I learned Spanish. Literally, I just went from zero, and then I just, again, if you watch my video in how I learned Japanese, pretty much the same. I just didn't use my French except with like when I started working, but I already had a good Spanish, and so I would just practice as much as possible with the people. I would be social. I didn't care much about the mistakes as long as the people will understand me. People are nice, and like if they see you actually trying to speak the language, they will be nice with you, and they will really help you out with that. Um, so that's it. And yeah, we just practice. I made so many good friends. I think that's like the best way to learn a language, even more than a boyfriend or something, or a girlfriend. It's like having friends, going and meeting the people, trying to learn about the culture, and asking them questions about their lifestyle, telling them about you and your life. And I just, um, just being open minded and just going and trying, and not just focusing on the grammar of the language, because over time you will get it. I do believe that. I do believe it, like slowly, by listening to the people speaking correct like Spanish or whatever language you're trying to learn, you will slowly learn it. And by watching TV as well, you will listen to the grammar. By reading, you will also get a grab of it. It helps to learn a little bit at the beginning, definitely, so that you are able to understand how complicated it is, and like how there's so many things like pieces of the puzzle you need to put together. And it's good for you to have an overview of it, but then don't stop, like don't block yourself to just learning the grammar, because that's going to stop you from actually um, developing your skills and like conversation skills and like talking, and even like it would block you from learning the language because you would be so focused on the grammar and like the complicated side of it, but you would stop yourself from making that effort. And that's how most people get shy and stop practicing because they're so afraid of making mistakes. But just do it. Like, I always just spend my whole time in Argentina making friends, going and trying to talk to people, and yeah, practice with them. And that's how I got so many good friends there, and how my speaking like Spanish is really good now. It's definitely not perfect. So I have a lot of subjunctive and like different rules to learn, but at least I can have a really good conversation. I'm pretty fluent, and I don't stop my learning. I still contact my friends from Argentina to practice with them. When I meet a person Latina here in Melbourne, for example, I practice with them. Like, I have a couple of friends here who speak Spanish, and they know I speak Spanish, and I know they know I'm learning it, so I practice with them as much as possible. Um, I still watch a lot of TV shows. Um, I just watched Ingobernable. So anyone who wants a good TV show right now on Netflix, that's really good. It's about Mexico, corrupt government thing. It's pretty interesting, and it's not long like the normal Latino series. So if you want to watch it, it's pretty good too. Um, yeah, and I do listen a lot to music as well. I love bachata music, sometimes salsa, merengue, but like I love Latino music, Shakira, and like it's so. I just love it because now I am able to understand the lyrics of the songs. I used to sing, when I was young, and like when you remember all the song lyrics when you don't understand the language, and now you understand. You're like, oh, that's what they were saying this whole time, and like I just love this feeling, and like I definitely don't want to stop there. I really want to learn more and more languages. I know it takes time, and like I, now I also want to settle down, and like I have my little life here in Melbourne, or in Australia, but I still want to learn some more languages. So um, one of the languages I really want to learn was Portuguese. I really love Brazilian Portuguese. Don't know why, but I really love it. Like Chinese, Korean, depends. But right now, I've met a lot of Italians since I'm here. I work in wine bar, Italian wine bar. I have a Italian cook where I work now. So, and I love Italian too. So I'm actually starting to learn Italian. It's a bit harder because a lot going on, and when you're in your own lifestyle, it's pretty hard. You have work, you have study, you have your whole social life is hard. But I'm working there. I'm going there. You never stop learning, lifelong journey, and you are your only limits. So if you want to do something, just do it. Once again, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Sorry, the video got a bit long, but here you go. Just make friends, be social. Um, don't be afraid to make mistakes. People are happy as long as you try their own language. And you want to learn about the culture. I think that's like one of the main things. I feel like more than learning a language is learning a way of thinking because people are so different. And especially when you went from Japanese to Spanish, and it's just so different. The rules and like social attitude and stuff. Everything is so different, and more than a language, you learn a way of living, a way of thinking, and a culture. So that's really interesting, and I feel like more people should be doing this. So if you ever thought about learning a new language, don't stop making excuses and just do it. Just go and learn something, learn a new culture, make new friends, and just be open and don't be afraid. Just go and do it. Anyway, thank you for listening. I'll just do it in English this time. I'll probably do it in Spanish as well, just for my Spanish friends, and we'll see. Anyway, thank you for listening. Cheers.